This is the Louie T Network.
In the lab room.
Welcome, you are in the lab room. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. It is Thursday, and you know what that means here in the lab room. Thursday equals football day. Thursday night football to get to. Cincinnati Bengals, the red hot Cincinnati Bengals, traveling to Miami to take on the ice cold Miami Dolphins. This is a trap game if I've ever seen one. The Cincinnati Bengals must come prepared to take the Miami Dolphins' best punch in this game because the Dolphins are up against the wall. Their backs squarely against the wall. They don't have any margin for error. They started out this season 3-0. I've talked about this on numerous occasions, and now they've lost 4 in a row. They lose a 5th consecutive game. You can probably go ahead and wrap the Dolphins up and put a nice little bow on top of them because they will be done in this division. And if you don't win this division, I don't see another team coming out of the AFC East as a wild card. I just don't see it. We know one of the wild card spots in the AFC is going directly to the AFC West. And it could easily be both if the San Diego Chargers continue to play the way they've played this season. Both wild cards could come up out of the AFC West. So essentially what I'm saying to you is you got to win this division if you want to get to the playoffs in the AFC East. And right now, the Patriots are head and shoulders above everyone else. And not to mention, Dolphins had them on the ropes. Dennis Green style, let them off the hook in week number 8. And so this is a pivotal game for them. They got to have it. And the Cincinnati Bengals are playing such good football right now that I just don't know if the Dolphins are ready. And then you lose your left tackle or your right tackle. Jonathan Martin essentially had a mental breakdown in the cafeteria, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So he's being replaced by Tyson Clabo. You've got issues right now. And you've got more questions than answers if you're the Miami Dolphins right now. And so we'll come back to the Dolphins. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, the 6-2 Cincinnati Bengals. Are these guys a legitimate Super Bowl contender? A lot of people have been throwing that question around. I was watching Total Access. I read a couple of articles on the NFL.com website. And a lot of people are throwing this question around. Is Andy Dalton a top-notch quarterback? Are the Bengals Super Bowl contenders? I think those two questions go hand in hand. They go one with the other. If Andy Dalton is a top-notch quarterback, then the Cincinnati Bengals are a Super Bowl contender. This defense is Super Bowl ready. They've been Super Bowl ready for probably the past 2 seasons. So that's not going to change. If they stay relatively healthy with the guys they have on the defensive side of the football, they can get pressure on the quarterback. Their linebackers are very athletic and can run. Their secondary is a veteran-laden group. And I don't know about you. I like my corners well-seasoned. Okay? Not asking for the corners to go out there and be gangbusters, but I like my corners to be well-seasoned. To be in this league 3 to 7 to 10 years and have a feel for what receivers are trying to get accomplished. Guys that know they've been around the block. I like my corners well-seasoned. When you got young guys out there, they're susceptible to double moves. They're susceptible to little things that veterans like to do. They haven't seen a lot in the National Football League, and so they're still wide-eyed. They make a lot of mistakes. You give me a seasoned veteran that's seen it all, done it all in the National Football League, you get less mistakes, and you get a guy that can perform at a high level week in and week out. Essentially what you get is consistency, and with Adam Jones and Terrence Newman and company back there, Chris Crocker had a big interception last week. With guys like that in your secondary, those are well-seasoned veterans that give you consistency week in and week out, which is going to give you a chance to win, which is why the Cincinnati Bengals defense is so good. So the defense, you don't worry about them. It's the offense that you have to worry about week in and week out with Cincinnati. This running game, does it travel on the road? They haven't played well on the road in terms of the running game. And so law firm, Ben Jarvis Green Adams, has to step up on the road. But you've gotten some good play out of Giovanni Bernard on the road. you got to continue to get that from him. You got to get this running game off the ground when you go on the road. When you go on the road, you got to be able to pack your defense and your running game. And if the running game works, then all of a sudden Andy Dalton has space to throw the football down the field to Mohamed Sanu and A.J. Green and company. And so he can work the ball over the middle to Marvin Jones, or he can find Tyler Eifert or Jermaine Gresham. There are so many targets. I've talked about this Cincinnati Bengals team and what they've done in the draft over the last couple of years, and why they're such a good football team is because they draft well every single year, and the influx of talent is starting to pay off. They've got a lot of guys that can get it done at multiple positions. They're getting better along the offensive line. Dalton is starting to have time to survey the field and find the right options. Marvin Jones is starting to play some really good football across from A.J. Green. You still got Mohamed Sanu. So you've got guys that can play at the receiver position. I just talked about the tight ends, Eifert and Jermaine Gresham. Those guys are athletic mismatches each and every week they step on the football field. And so this Bengals team, if Andy Dalton, he's the missing link. Okay? If he's playing at a high level, if he's playing at a high level like he's playing right now, and you can get this kind of consistent play from Andy Dalton week in, week out, Cincinnati Bengals are going to be a tough out. I can easily see them beating the upper echelon teams in the National Football League. I can see them beating the Denver Broncos. I can see them beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I can see them beating the New England Patriots. Hell, they already did that. So this is a team that can beat anyone on any given Sunday if Andy Dalton is playing at a high level, because the one thing you have to be able to do to beat the Denver Broncos is get pressure on Peyton Manning. Hit him. Knock him off his spot. The Cincinnati Bengals can do exactly that. So if Andy is doing his job, this defense is going to do their job. But let's talk about this game here on Thursday Night Football, Cincinnati Bengals at the Miami Dolphins. This is a big matchup for the Cincinnati Bengals because I said I need to see more. I like what you did in Detroit. I'm happy that you were able to get Buffalo on the road. But you struggled in Buffalo. You had a 14-point lead. You blew that. Had to go and get the win in overtime. You had Detroit. You let Detroit come back, and then you had to go back and take that game from Detroit. So you went out. You got 2 road victories. Impressive. Like what you did there. I need to see more, however. This is a Dolphins team that is on the ropes. And literally, they are on their last legs. And they're wobbling. They're stumbling. If you go in and you, from the outset of this game, come in and you're aggressive and you give them a nice little combination and you come with that uppercut, these guys are finished. They're done. It's your job to come in here and dominate this football game. Set the tone early. Get pressure on Ryan Tannehill. He's shown you. He does not mind turning the football over. You hit him, he'll fumble. You get pressure on him, he'll throw the football and give you an opportunity to make a play on it. The key in this game is don't let the Dolphins run the football, because Lamar Miller is coming on, and he's a guy that is getting yardage in chunks. Daniel Thomas is playing better of late, and so if you can eliminate the running game and put it all on the shoulders of Ryan Tannehill, he lost a critical weapon last week, and Brandon Gibson. He's starting to make a lot of mistakes. He's fumbling the football. He's throwing balls up for grabs. He's staring down receivers. If you can force the issue defensively, force some turnovers, give your offense short fields, and Andy Dalton can deposit those mistakes into into points. I don't see any reason why the Cincinnati Bengals can't go to 7-2 on the season with a huge win on the road versus the Miami Dolphins. This is a really good Cincinnati Bengals team. Hell, a borderline elite team if they can play the way they've been playing of late. I mean, what they did to the Jets, criminal. What they did to the Jets last week is criminal and is punishable by the law in about 22 states in the United States of America. So what they did last week, they should be arrested for. Okay, that was absolutely assault with a deadly weapon last week. And so if they can bring that kind of intensity, pack it up, put it in the suitcase and travel it and take it on the road with them, this is a game that is there for the taking for the Cincinnati Bengals. And this is a dangerous group right now. You look at it from the Dolphins' perspective. And like I said earlier, there's no margin for error here. You got to have this one. It's at home and you're running out of time. It's getting very late It's no longer early anymore. I used to say it's getting late early for a lot of teams. Well, we're at the midpoint of the season. After this game for the Dolphins, you would have played 8 games on the season. So at this point, you're midway through the season. It's no longer early anymore. You got to start making some power moves and giving yourself a chance to be in a position to strike and make it to the postseason. There's only 6 chairs at the table in the dance. You got to make sure that you position yourself to be in line to get your hands on one of those tickets so you can get at that table when they shut the door and no one else is getting in. And so if you're the Dolphins, you got to win this football game. You got to get to 500 again. I say this all the time. If you're not at 500, don't talk to me. I don't even want to hear your mouth. If you're not at 500, you don't deserve or aren't going to the playoffs. You don't deserve to go and you're not going to go. So you need to get to 500 first. This is an opportunity for you to do that. Win this football game at home, and the keys to the game for you are establish the run. Take some of the pressure off of Ryan Tannehill. Protect him. He's been under siege. He's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league, and we see that he does not handle the pressure well. But how many quarterbacks in the league do? But he does not handle the pressure well. He turns it over, whether it's a fumble or it's an interception or a bad decision. He turns it over when pressure is applied. You have to protect him. And the easiest way to do that is to keep the Bengals guessing defensively by running the football, mixing it up, and having them off balance so they can't pin their ears back and come after the quarterback. You get in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, an obvious passing down. They're turning the dogs loose, and Ryan Tannehill is going to make a monumental mistake in this game. If you can keep it in 3rd and manageable, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, where the option of the run is still a threat and the quick game is still in play. If it's 3rd and 9, it does you no good to throw a 3-yard hitch. So you got to keep the quick game in play. So you need to mix it up. Run some passes on 1st down, but also run the football on 1st and 2nd down as well to keep the Bengals guessing. Keep them off your tendencies in this game and give you a chance to do some things. Defensively, you got to get after Andy Dalton. I just talked about that. The same thing they're trying to do to you, stop the run, force your quarterback to win, you got to do the same thing to them. Stop Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Stop Gio Bernard. Make Andy Dalton win this football game and get them in 3rd and long situations and get Cameron Wake and company opportunities to rush the quarterback and see if you can get after Andy Dalton and force him into some mistakes. And if you allow the Cincinnati Bengals to be balanced on offense, then the play action fake is in play. And once play action fake becomes a realistic option for them, now you got to worry about your safeties being sucked into play action fake. And you don't want one-on-one with A.J. Green because we all know you're not fully green unless you're A.J. Green. And A.J. Green equals money. And so if he gets one-on-one coverage, and I don't care if it's Demetri Patterson or it's Brent Grimes, whoever the case may be, if he gets one-on-one coverage, 95% of the time, A.J. Green is going to win that matchup. You don't want that. So you need your safeties to be able to confidently stay back, do their job, and not worry about the run. So it's your job to stop the run first and foremost in this game and establish the line of scrimmage and then make Andy Dalton beat you. If you can do that, you've got a great chance in this football game. Be nice if you got something from Thigpen and the special teams unit, but if not, play sound defense, give yourself a chance offensively, limit the mistakes, limit the penalties, and you'll be in this ball game. All you're looking to do here is give yourself a chance. Be in a football game in the 4th quarter. If you can do that, you're at home, crowds on your side. You've been able to pull out some games early in the season in the 4th quarter. You can do that here if you give yourself a chance into the 4th quarter. If you don't, and the Bengals have a 2-possession, a 3-possession lead going into the 4th quarter, you're in trouble and you're probably going to lose this football game. So we'll see. It's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a very entertaining football game because, look, I talked about this on another program. The Dolphins need this game. They're the desperate team here. The Cincinnati Bengals want this game. And a lot of times when there's a team that wants it and a team that needs it, the team that needs the game plays with a little bit more sense of urgency. They're the dangerous team and you get their best shot. If the Cincinnati Bengals can weather the storm early and not allow the crowd to get involved and take the Miami Dolphins' best shot, The Dolphins might do what they did last week against the Patriots and jump out on top of you 10-0 in this game. Your job is to take that shot. That's their best shot right there. Take that shot, absorb it, get up, and now you got to come back and play with that resolve that you've been playing with this season that's allowed you to get out to this 6-2 start. If you can do that, you'll be able to come back in this game and win, much like the Patriots were able to do last week. If you can jump on them early, if you're Cincinnati, if you can jump on them early, that will demoralize this Miami Dolphins team. They're in no position to fall behind in this game 10 or 13-0 or 14 or 17-0. They are in no position to fall behind big early because right now their confidence is lacking. They fall behind early. You got them right where you want them. All you got to do is step on their throats at this point. Do what you did to the Jets. If you get them down early, run away with this one. Don't look back, and you'll find yourself at 7-2 after this game is over. I got the Cincinnati Bengals winning this one. I just don't trust the Dolphins anymore. I invested a lot of trust in them early in the season, and they've let me down too many times. I just don't see them getting this win against a really, really, really good Cincinnati Bengals football team that I feel like can force the issue and force Ryan Tannehill into some mistakes. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals in this one. 27-17 as they notch their 7th victory of the season and get to 7-2. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, who started the season 3-0, I think they're going to fall to 3-5 on the season after this one is said and done. Wouldn't surprise me if they found a way to rise to the occasion and salvage this season, because again, I think if they lose this game and go to 3-5, they're done. I wouldn't be surprised if they salvaged their season, won this game, and got to 4-4, but I just don't see it happening. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals to take care of business on Thursday Night Football, which takes us to, throw it up, you know what time it is. Let's tack on this quick extra point. And I want to keep in the theme of this Thursday night matchup and these teams. And I talked about the Dolphins and them not having Jonathan Martin. Apparently, one of the Dolphins players, or a couple of them, played a prank on him in the cafeteria. And he wasn't mentally stable at this point. I don't know what he has going on in his life. I'm not a judgmental guy, so I don't know what he has going on right now. Could be some things on the field, could be some things off of it, could be a combination of the two. Either way, he wasn't in a mental state that allowed him to take that prank for what it was, as a joke. He took it serious. He threw his tray down, threw his food down. He's not with the team right now. He's got some issues that he's got to iron out. He's not playing in this football game. That's the last thing the Dolphins need right now because they're struggling to protect Ryan Tannehill. So now Tyson Clabo has to assume the right tackle position where he was earlier in the season before he was benched. So it looks like Tyson Clabo will be on the right side and Bryant McKinney will be on the left side. And you got to hope these guys can stand up to the Cincinnati Bengals pressure that they will be able to apply in this game, because if you can't protect Ryan Tannehill, bad things are going to happen in this game. I hope that Jonathan Martin solves whatever issues he has going on right now with him mentally. Hopefully he gets the help that he needs and is able to resume his career in the National Football League. I don't see this being something that lingers for a long period of time. But again, anytime you got mental issues, those are something, those are things that you need to have resolved quickly, because anytime you start having a lot of pressure and a lot of stressors mounting on you, different thoughts start to creep through your head, and you don't want one of these situations like we had last year with the Chiefs and Jovan Belcher. So anytime you have a player with some mental health issues, you got to get him some help, and you got to get it to him very quickly, because guys, you never know what someone else has going through their mind, and we saw that last year with that Jovan Belcher situation. So hopefully Jonathan Martin gets the help that he needs, and he's okay, and he's back on the football field for the Miami Dolphins, because they could use Jonathan Martin at that right tackle position, playing some really good football like he did before he made the switch to left tackle. So that's going to do it for the Thursday edition of In the Lab Room. Thank you for joining me. Come back and join me on Friday when we break down each and every game on the Week 9 slate. I'll break this game down in its entirety. Probably will do that in a separate episode, and we'll break down the Pick'em Weekly. I'll give you my picks. Flash is going to be back this week, so I'll give you Flash's picks as well. And so I'll see you on Friday. Enjoy the football tonight, and I'll come back and I'll break it all down tomorrow. See you then. Have a good one. Oh, yeah. Happy Halloween. Stay safe. Don't eat too much candy. Oh, one last thing. Funny. This is the last day for pink. So you might see some players wearing some pink tonight. You may not. I know that I'm excited because I get to finally stop donning the pink. So it's for a good cause. But this is the last day of October, last day of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so I finally get to switch the wardrobe up. Woo! So enjoy the football, enjoy the candy, enjoy the festivities. We'll come back, pick 'em weekly, tomorrow, November. It's all fresh and brand new starting tomorrow. See you then.
In the lab room.